In this live prepper tools for self-defense instructional video, I'll be showing you how to use your Japanese Tonfa, or you might have the law enforcement military version, the PR-24, the side handle baton. It's based on, you can see it's exactly the same tool, self-defense tool. This is a lot longer on both directions, and it's made out of a dense polymer plastic. It hits extremely hard. I wanted to show you this is something that you probably cannot carry or have with you. This you can. This is a martial arts self-defense tool. This is a martial arts weapon that you can carry. It comes from Okinawa or Japan, depending on who you talk to, or China, or wherever. Doesn't matter. We're going to talk about the practical use and not the military, or we're not talking about the martial arts application so much as how you would use them in the application of self-defense. If you were a prepper or you were just preparing for your own safety for any reason, whether you're a prepper for when stuff hits the fan, or you're just every day, you're looking for extra options, extra things to work with to keep yourself safe. Good afternoon, Garen. So I'm going to show you first, this is the side handle baton that police officers often carry. Thank you, Studer, for that generous gift. That really helps out this channel quite a bit. It helps me keep the lights on, literally. You're holding the PR-24 or the Japanese Tonfa, and we're going to pick those up in a second, in your hand in this position. This is the first way that you might hold it. You can see immediately that if you keep this firm and tight against your forearm, you now have a shield, an extra amount of protection that guards the bone in your arm, the flesh in your arm, all of the stuff that's in there, the muscle, the tendon, that allows you to stop an attack if someone were to try to hit you with a bladed weapon, with a cane. If there was an attack on an older gentleman, the guy took away his cane, he was hitting him with him. He's in his 90s. I mean, what a barbaric, horrible person to attack him. But bladed weapon, anything else, someone swinging a skateboard at you, somebody swinging a baseball bat, you have this to intercept, and this stuff doesn't break. You would, it would be very difficult. You would need some kind of machine to help you break this. This is how hard this is. Thank you, Jerry, for that compliment on the videos. So that's the first thing that you can see. This becomes a shield. It allows you to shield, to block. Your other hand is open. A police officer, law enforcement would carry one, not two. It's usually in an O-ring that fits on their belt, and they would draw it this way, or they would draw it this way and be ready to use it, either holding it by this handle or by this handle. Now, this is the first way in self-defense or in the application of law enforcement, having to put somebody on the ground immediately. You would take this and go right into this soft fascia, this muscle, thin muscle between the belly button and the private parts. So you could have your hand up, you're giving a command, you're getting too close, put your hands, and then put your hands down, don't swing at me, telling someone to back up, and then you can immediately strike in that position, and the whole weight and force of your body as you rotate your shoulders and hips and extend that arm and step into the strike is now going into this rounded point of extremely hard material into that muscle. This puts people on the ground very quickly. The other way that you can use it, or the next way you could use it, is by turning and allowing it to swing forward, and you come through coming this way, coming at an angle, coming down at an angle. They're all different ways that you would use this as a swinging device, and you would have to practice a lot so that this stays closed but it's relaxed, allowing it to swing as you move it away from your body, and then coming back into this position again to shield or to strike. Another way you would use this in law enforcement is by turning it into this position, holding it here. Yeah, and Garen says this would be really good to have this in your house as well. If you're worried about someone potentially breaking into your home and then you wanted to be able to defend yourself, you would want to have something like this, or this would be an extra self-defense tool that you could have. You could have one of these in your car. Not PR-24 if it's illegal where you are. You would have to Google that. It's not illegal everywhere. There are a lot of places where you can have this, but it would have to be, it can't be in the back seat where you could reach it. It can't be under your car seat. That would be considered a concealed weapon. But if wherever you are, if you had to defend yourself, you knew you were going to have to go into a dangerous situation. Imagine this, the mindset of a prepper, right? Stuff hits the fan, the grid goes down, you have to get somewhere to get food for your family. Everybody's going crazy, everybody's going violent, and you're not going to worry too much about the police officer stopping you and asking you, what do you have under your seat? Because everything's going crazy. They got bigger problems to worry about. So this would be a good option to have something that you could train with for when stuff does hit the fan. If it does, you would have something that you could then employ in immediate self-defense. Sticking it with two hands now, using it, having this handle makes it extremely effective. Thrusting down, thrusting into the face, thrusting into the solar plexus. Yeah, and Jimmy says here in California we have a lot of restrictions, but imagine this, Jimmy, whatever's going on around the world right now escalates, and there is a cyber attack that brings the grid down for a matter of weeks. And this is not to scare anybody, because I don't believe in that. I believe in being prepared and being an abundant mindset, having an abundant mindset, and abundance, attracting abundance, right? And I should say, part of that means you should be able to protect yourself, protect your loved ones, protect your family, protect your health, your dignity, your life. And so let's say if that situation does happen where all of a sudden law enforcement is stretched extremely thin, they can't respond, they stop responding to everyday altercations, or they stop responding, or there's just so much happening, so much chaos, and you're in an area where people are kicking in doors looking for food to eat or whatever, you would have, whether the law allows it or not, you might have a couple of extra layers of protection. That's the whole point of these prepper self-defense videos. It's a kind of not a departure from what I do, because it's all related, but just thinking a little bit outside the box, right? So we have these thrusts. You can also spin it to give yourself longer room, and this is a technique I'm going to show you with the Tonfa in a minute. And then you would strike. With the Tonfa, you usually carry one in each hand. You don't use two hands, you have one on each one. But in this case, you would then immediately be able to push them back. This can also be carried in this position, and now this becomes a hammer. A very effective, very powerful, very devastating for self-defense, very damaging self-defense hammer. Yeah, as he said, you former Army Ranger, you've seen a lot of horrible things. Yes. Anybody who's been deployed into a war zone, if you see even the pictures right now, and I always say take things with a grain of salt. It seems like and I'm not getting political or anything, it just seems like there's a lot of weirdness going on in the world. So who knows what we're looking at. We do know we're seeing a lot of horrific things. We do know a lot of innocent people are being hurt. We do know that the world seems on edge. And since the world seems on edge, it's better to take some action, prepare, even if just through the exercise of training. It helps you breathe and sweat and calms your mind so you can make better decisions about your everyday life, and you don't sit there huddled in front of the television or in front of the internet just consuming negative information all day, negative news stories that you have no control over. So this is a way to move your body, whether you use it in application of self-defense or just through training. You keep your mind clear and you keep your soul clear and happy and focused and oriented in the right direction. All right, so holding it here, this becomes a hammer. It also becomes a grapple or a hook where you can reach and pull, catch hold of something. But you can see that knot right there is very hard and it's heavy, and it can create a lot of damage for self-defense. The other way that you would carry it is just right here. Thank you, Jimmy. Holding it here, it becomes more like a traditional policeman's baton or riot baton, where again with two hands you can move somebody back. You stick this right through someone's solar plexus or in through the throat or into the face or down into the groin, into that muscle there. They're not coming forward. They have to go back, right? You've got to push straight in, and he's got to move back. He's not going to absorb that and keep coming, right? You just go straight in. This also can be used in the traditional way that a billy club would be used, or a baton, a policeman's baton, striking through the arms, striking the legs. And the difference between this and a collapsible baton is the collapsible baton doesn't hit nearly as hard as this. And the reason is the material it's made of is extremely dense and it's extremely heavy. Good afternoon, Jeremy. It's good to see you. So this is the PR24 made by Monadnock. And you can see there. And I have a few of these that I sell here and I train people with from time to time who are approaching it. It's not that in their case they're allowed to have it. They keep it at their home like you had suggested. Someone kicks in the door, they have this and if they don't have one of these, or if they have this and one of these, right? We try not to talk about that here on this channel because that's not what I do, but that's something that I do personally, and I train that personally, train people how to keep these in your hand. We call it weapon retention, just like I teach them how to do weapon retention here. And that's always been a passion of mine competitively, doing this kind of stuff. All right, enough of that. Going to this. This is the Okinawan or Japanese or Chinese. You'll see these in a lot of different martial arts. The Tonfa. In the Tonfa, usually you carry one in each hand, and you would do the same thing as you do with the PR-24. You pull this in and against your hand. If it's well made, I put a link below to a pair that are well made. If it's well made like this, that is extremely hard wood. It's usually a hard wood that's made well. You can see this one's chopped up from years and years of use. This is probably 40 years old now. I've had these forever, and I inherited them from another martial artist who had them for a long time before that. You would practice from here. The first thing you would do is get into a better position. In a martial arts setting, you do a lot of horse riding stance, and it's not necessarily just to generate the power, although it does generate power, but it allows you to strengthen and stretch the body and get a good foundation so you can turn the shoulders and hips. And you could practice statically, staying in place, just a full extension, punching through the midsection, turning the shoulders, turning the hips, going straight, going straight, going straight. And if you had a bag to use, you would move up, get in that horse riding stance and practice. If you don't have something to hit, stay in that horse riding stance and practice, but make sure you turn through the shoulders and hips and extend into the center line. Practice going in as high as the face, into the solar plexus, and down into the groin. Lower strikes. The second thing I want you to practice is blocking up and blocking up. And anytime you block up, the punches coming to your face, you're actually lifting his arm, then you would break his ribs, right? You would come in or you would strike the solar plexus. So you would cross the arms, and you want to orient it in a way and turn the wrist out so that this is intercepting the attack. So then you would practice these blocks after you did your punches for about 2 or 3 minutes. High blocks first, and then coming across the body like a shield, wrist blocks coming to the inside, shielding across the face, and then crossing from your shoulder and pushing straight down. Straight down, turning your shoulders and your hips. Shoulders and hips, and finishing in front of your body. Those are 6 basic moves. Punches up, punches to the middle, punches down, and then high blocks, shielding the body with the middle blocks, and then straight down low blocks. And start with those, and then before you're done with your workout, start to spin as you come through the body here. You're gonna do 2 kinds of spins as a beginner using these for self-defense. Being able to strike immediately into the face for self-defense, you wanna be able to do this spin. The second spin is gonna come up, and this would come up under his chin, catch him off guard, bust him right here really fast, and put it right here. And then, yeah, when you go to the Kennedy Space Center, stop down and see me. We're not that far. We were just there recently. Over, back. They had the Falcon 9 launch yesterday from Kennedy. And I was working at the elementary school, and I pulled up and all of the classes were outside, standing there watching the rocket launch. That's one of the great things about living here in South Florida. You get to see a lot, especially the big rockets like that. So you're gonna come across the body and back, and then wham, up under the chin, and then tuck it up and under. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there are a lot of different moves that we're gonna do. I'm gonna start to do more with the Tonfa, and I wanna show you all the ways that you might use it in martial arts, because then you can see everything here is a practical application for self-defense. It's like the martial arts Joe staff, the middle-sized staff. There are no frivolous movements. There are no frivolous movements here. Everything that you're gonna learn how to do with this, striking, and we're gonna do more how to spin it, snap it, bring it back, in all these different positions, and striking with the long distance, or the long part of the staff, Tonfa, long part of the Tonfa, for self-defense. But it's a perfect prepper self-defense tool, because as a prepper, if you're prepping for anything, for when stuff hits the fan, or just to be better prepared to defend yourself for any reason. Having these and having knowledge of how to use these will give you a whole broader range of tools to use in defense of your life, your family, your freedom, your health, all the things that are most important in life, right? Money, stuff, that's not important. But the things that are super important, it's not important until you don't have any, right? That's the joke. And then you go to feed your kids and then you're hungry. So that is important. Someone tries to take the last grain of food out of your kid's mouth by force, then we want to be prepared to defend ourselves. God forbid, that's never going to happen. But we prepare in case it does, so we have some options. We know it's not going to happen, but prepare just so you don't have to panic. All right, yeah, Matthew says they're great blocking weapons. It's just, it's like, let it hit this instead of that. It's too obvious. You can see that. You guys have been awesome. Again, Studer, thank you for that generous gift. I have to go pick up one of the kids, come back. Hopefully we'll have time tonight. We'll do another video and look for more Tonfa. I'm going to do Tonfa again next week. I want to show you more techniques to practice with your Tonfa. If you need a pair or you want a pair, look at the link below. If you want to try to make your own, there are plenty of videos on how to make your own Tonfa. Just Google it. But get a pair, start training. We'll train together, and I'll see you the next time. Thank you very much.